A dark, rainy afternoon didn't deter the large, knowledgeable audience at Sacred Heart Church in Norfolk for the Virginia Chorale's December 8th program, A Season of Joy, conducted by Charles Woodward. The chorale, which is celebrating its 30th season, began with Svetitihi, a Russian Orthodox liturgical chant from Rachmaninoff's All-Night Vigil. It's an a cappella setting of the Phos Hilaron, the earliest known Christian hymn and still in use today for Vespers, for the lighting of lamps in the evening. The chorale sang it in Church Slavonic, with Scott Chrisman, the soloist, and the entire choir bringing out its unearthly beauty. John Rutter's double choir motet, Hymn to the Creator of Light, brings two 17th century texts together to explore the generative power of light, visible and invisible. The chorale's pristine floating harmonies shone in the church's beautifully supportive acoustics. It was particularly nice to hear such disciplined sopranos whose top notes were clear and never shrill. Barbara Chapman, principal harpist of the Virginia Symphony, joined the chorale for American composer Frank Furco's A Festival of Carols. He was composer in residence for the Dale Warland Singers, which premiered A Festival of Carols in 2002. The texts of Go Tell It on the Mountain and Longfellow's Christmas Bells are familiar, the others weren't, but Furco wrote new melodies for all and challenging harp harmonizations. The Angel's Song began with single-plucked strings exploding into great swoops of arpeggios with impossibly high, sweet sopranos. Go Tell It on the Mountain had intense syncopated rhythms. The Sky Can Still Remember featured haunting, echoing vocal lines, and Do You Know the Song That the Angels Sang had men's and women's voices tolling like bells. Throughout, there was excellent communication between harp and voices. In Dulce Jubilo is a macaronic carol that mixes Latin and German, translated in this case into Latin and English. Arranged by Matthew Cullenton, it had rhythmic alterations and a syncopated feel. Venite Gaudete by the British bass Adrian Peacock contrasts the men's slow melody with the women's rhythmic underpinning, then reverses them, en route to a bright, full, rather abrupt ending. A nifty, brisk arrangement of the 12 Days of Christmas had singers going quack, quack at every repetition of the 6 geese a-laying, and the 9 ladies dancing brought a wonderful rhythm change. Every verse was slightly different. Woodward commented deadpan, "We didn't have any fun with that piece." 2 songs by Jewish composers were a nod to Hanukkah, or, as Woodward put it, Oi to the world. Mel Torme's classic, The Christmas Song, was a fairly straightforward arrangement that blossomed into jazz. Regina Rossi was the soloist. A jazzy arrangement of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a great bouncing bass line, Andrew Potter's bass solo, and a swing reprise with extra lyrics. They didn't have any fun with that one either. Composer Steve Heitzig took a charming poem by E.E. Cummings, Little Tree, contrasting women's and men's voices in different approaches, ending with a wordless hum while Chapman played a delicate descending figure more softly with each repetition. It was amazing. The traditional Basque carol Gabriel's Message, arranged by Stephen Paulus, had men's voices, women's voices, both together, with liquid harp interludes. The fine local composer John Dixon arranged the traditional French carol Hélène for Virginia Chorale. Its premiere performance was December 6th in Newport News. This was the second performance. It was sung in French at a brisk pace with one key modulation after another, very rhythmic, playful, light, and cheerful. The traditional carol, Joy to the World, closed the program, and the chorale's encore was a reprise of the last verse. There was a standing ovation, of course, fitting tribute to a very high order of musicianship. Most traditional carols were the popular songs of their day, sung by everyone. I find it interesting that so many have been arranged into works that could only be sung by such an excellent professional choir. From the other side of the Footlights, I'm M.D. Ridge.